Welcome to the Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we're going to recap Mikey Musumeci versus Masakazu Imanari on ONE FC. We're going to preview Fight to Win 200 in Hawaii. We're going to talk about BJJ Stars 8, which features a fantastic bracket, Middleweight GP, and talk about Toro Cup 20. As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Miranda.
How you doing, Miranda?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good Monday. We got some great matches to talk about. A lot of really great rematches on BJJ Stars. And we had a really fun match this weekend. I actually got to watch the ONE FC card on Friday. A lot of it live because I was working from home.
Oh, did
and
you?
I was doing a bunch of reporting,
That's
and I got a chance to sit in front of it
stuff.
and watch it.
Well,
It was awesome. Again, I always kind of forget how fun ONE FC is. Do we have any news? I don't really think there's anything big going on.
They announced the Hall of Fame tournament.
Yeah, so
or not tournament, Hall of Fame seminar.
Yep. So the ADCC Hall of Famer seminar is out now if you're going to be in Vegas.
The Friday before trials.
Is it Friday?
Mm-hmm.
So the Thursday is 9 Inch Nails for us and the ADCC Open.
Yeah.
And then the Friday.
If we can get into the Open.
If we can get to the Open. Yeah, we're not sure about
We're
that
getting
yet.
into the Open. When they drop it, I'm just going to register all of us.
Okay.
I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go in
You're
and
very good
register.
at that. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
we're all fighting in it.
I mean, as soon as it comes up, we're getting registered.
I'm down.
I'll do it all at the same time.
And then on that Friday, there is the ADCC Hall of Famers, basically seminar, which is a $400 seminar with 14 different ADCC Hall of Famers. It's a crazy seminar. It's $400, but
3 hours.
if you're into that, and they're going to basically break. Well, my understanding is in Mo's live streams, is they're going to break all of the all the Hall of Famers into groups of 2, and then they're going to split up the
Let's
group.
hope your group of 2 get along.
I think they're not going to put Corbrey and Hoffa together, is what Mo talked about.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have, I think, whatever 3 hours breaks up into 15 or 20 minutes with each group, and you go to the next group of 2 with your group of people in your seminar, or in your seminar group, and then as through the 3 hours, and there's a Q&A session, I think, at the end.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. But that registration is open now. As of recording, I think earlier today, we're 270
still left.
but I think there's even less than that now.
Yeah, if you go look it up, it says how many are left.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, to have that go kind of quickly. It is a very expensive seminar, but it is the only opportunity you will ever have to have that group of people in the same room.
But didn't he say that either the day before or right around the championships, they're supposed to do some kind of big press conference that everybody's invited to?
Yeah, they were going to do that in 2019, but then they had everything set up for it.
Yeah.
But it just, based on the timing and how everything kind of got weird at the venue the day of, it was for the weigh-in. They did weigh-ins and they did bracketing. And so they called everyone out on that Friday, and they did a big opening ceremony, and they were supposed to be at a press conference to accompany that, and that didn't end up happening. I think they've coordinated it a little more robustly this time, and I think they're going to do it.
He said that before, so they're going to be. I guess you're just not learning from them at that point. You're just going to meet everybody.
It'll be a Hall of Famer Q&A.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you probably have more details on that than I do. But
I just remember listening to him talk about it because I was trying to figure out what exactly was going to go on that week.
Because we're planning on being there most of that week.
Yeah,
for our festivities.
Yeah, I'm probably going to come in Monday.
Yeah, we're looking at Monday to Monday for us too. The flights are pretty good, and overall, especially if we're going to do the Open, give us a couple of days to acclimate.
A couple days, yeah. Which we learned.
You found that out
the hard way.
Trials. It was like, oh man, that weather.
Oh, that sucks.
It gets to you a little bit. So, other than that, I don't think there's any other news.
I think the timing is what messes with me. The whole time change, it screws with me. But
it's going to be on the way back because I got back to my house at 7 a.m. after traveling all day. Yeah. And my body was like, you need to sleep now because you haven't done that. I'm like, it's 7 a.m. though. And body's like, take a nap. And I was like, okay. So that was a fun jet lag. But other than that, not a whole lot of news. ONE FC, do you have any other news?
No.
Let's move right into the recap of Mikey Musumeci making his ONE FC debut versus Masakazu Imanari. We're going to do this actually a little differently. This match is about 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
It is free on YouTube on the ONE FC channel. ONE FC had a bunch of great matches. They're expanding their grappling offerings, and it's been really interesting to watch them sort of build up grappling super fights. Like we now have the Rotolo brothers in an upcoming match.
I think they pay pretty nicely.
I mean, Mikey made $50K, a $50K bonus for this match, and I incorrectly on Instagram.
I've always heard that when you go to the Asian market, normally they pay. Even like MMA fights,
they tend to take care of their athletes
fighters.
and grapplers and fighters, and everyone who fights at one seems, again, very happy. All the guys who were in Pride were pretty happy with those contracts too. So Mikey made $50K as a bonus, and I don't know I don't think he had a disclosed purse, and I incorrectly was like, oh, it's the highest price paid match for anyone ever, and then numerous people DM'd me and went, Danielle Kelly also got $50K last time, and I went, cool, I will correct it on the show.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, I remembered it after. And I was like, yep, she did. But it's cool. Again, I love seeing grapplers get paid.
Did she win that match?
Yeah.
Okay.
She did.
It was a decision? It was a decision, right?
I think it was a sub.
It was a
But
sub?
I could be wrong.
Okay.
No, I don't remember. I just went and clarified that the pay that everyone was telling me was correct, and they wanted to clarify it on the show that, yep, Mikey's the second guy to get a $50K cash prize. They also gave it $100K, I think 1 or 2 matches earlier in one of the craziest one-round fights I've ever seen. Again, watch the whole card. It was a lot of fun.
So when Kelly went against Yamaguchi, it was a draw. I'm looking at my notes from when I was on the show, and we covered it. It was a draw.
All right.
So did they both get $50K? Or did Kelly only get $50K?
I don't remember. I didn't.
That
I don't
makes
remember.
me wonder.
I didn't expect a follow-up question. I just wanted to clarify that I was wrong on Instagram
I know.
and move on.
I get it, but then that makes me wonder if they're just handing out $50K to everybody, because I'll get my ass beat for $50K.
So, moving on to this match. Again, the match is about 3 minutes long. There is a ton of leg lock stuff that I want to kind of talk about initially because it's really interesting. If you know, I'm a huge fan of Iminari's game, and I love how he enters the legs. I'm learning more about kind of how Mikey Musumeci enters the legs and deals with those positions. So it's kind of, this is a new school kind of way that Mikey does stuff is not like old, is not like, it's on the cusp of kind of new tech that a lot of guys are using. And Iminari is very much like old school, the way that he pioneered doing it himself. So
Which is still,
it was really interesting.
and it's still more, let's say, revolutionary than like Lister.
Yeah.
You know
Lister
what
was
I
like the OG,
Then you have
like this.
You have like the OG leg lockers that do very specific things, and there's no, like, the pummeling isn't as much, and they kind of get into a position. And
like,
then
I lock
get
you
out.
down here, and then I finish, and that's really all I need.
Yeah.
And they're going to defend like this, I'm going to block it here,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm going to get to. And I learned a lot of, I have a huge soft spot in my, technical learnings from Dean Lister, because that catch DVD, I got that as like a blue belt or like a white belt, and started learning, and like that opened up a huge like way that he finishes a lot of leg techniques that I've still to this day continued to use, and like were very helpful.
I'm not saying he isn't helpful. I'm just saying that his
it's an older school
there's an
style
older
way of doing
school
stuff.
leg lock game that's much more
It's old school. It's just old school is the way to put it. Like Frank Mir's the same way. I learned a lot of stuff from Frank early in kind of my grappling
before
journey.
he had the 20 Frank Mir tattoos.
Before he did. And so here we had a fun match. The match is all on YouTube. You should watch along while we break it down and talk about it, because it's so complicated. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
Really interesting kind of early in the match. Mikey Musumeci goes.
Musumeci sits immediately.
Yeah. Which
So-
why would you let Iminari?
You're not going to let
Iminari roll you.
Yeah.
And put a highlight on your ass. And they immediately get into like, it's a really interesting position where Mikey Musumeci has both legs on the inside of Iminari, and he has one leg, the mat side leg, really, really low, and he has his knee under Iminari's knee, but his foot is on the top of like the thigh, almost like he's going to throw in, like almost kind of what would be like a De La Hiva hook.
Yeah.
If he was sitting, and Iminari was also sitting.
I've seen straight ankles done like that before, because that keeps it almost like IBJJF legal.
Yeah.
If his far leg wasn't across his hips and it was on his hip, it would be an IBJJF legal straight
Right.
ankle.
And even if it's inside, you can. It's
Normally, and you still have the control of that leg by having that knee under and that foot around.
Mikey here goes, he goes hand over hand for like the straight ankle lock grip that he gets, and it kind of combos with almost like a toe hold that he'll do, depending on where you move. He'll just kind of lean back. It's super strong. The thing that I thought was neat here is he leaves his top side leg through all the way and allows basically Iminari to also have the knee on that leg.
Yeah.
And I was curious because Iminari immediately goes, oh, cool. Yeah, I'm defending this footlock. He starts to push his leg out, and then immediately with both hands grabs Musumeci's leg, the other leg that's not kind of chalked underneath the knee, and starts to like muck with that. And I'm like, ooh, have you given Iminari a heel hook? And Mikey continues to fight on that straight ankle grip, and then passes that leg over to the same side over Iminari, basically over the leg that he had the knee and underneath Iminari's leg.
Yes.
Again, this is super complicated. This is why we're kind of breaking it down frame by frame. We try to do a lot of like
because it's hard
play-by-play on the show.
And it's hard to explain exactly the leg positioning because it's not a lot of like a position that you would
You brought it up
openly
earlier in the show,
recognize.
kind of on the pre-show, was like, yeah, they're doing it during leg pummeling. Like they're attacking off of leg pummeling.
Of specific pummeling.
Yeah, as opposed to like, oh, he throws the insights in Kaku or single leg X or like outside Ashi. No, they're doing this while they're pummeling legs, and it's a bunch of positions that
and
I don't really have a name for.
Yeah, a lot of it is knowing. Okay, I have the knee in this position. From this position, I can go here.
And you brought it
this
up
leg
that
is
Musumeci in his post-fight interview talked about
how he practices positions. And when he goes into tournaments, he just lets whatever happen.
Yeah,
which is very annoying for me, someone who overthinks everything. But anyway,
so
besides my problem,
Mikey pulls his leg that kind of Iminari was mucking with.
Yeah.
It was through the knee line over Iminari's leg on the same side of the leg that Mikey's attacking. So now Iminari basically has no lean line control, and Iminari very quickly is able to get that leg back over and starts fighting essentially for an outside heel hook.
Yeah, and they have like kind of both have heel hooks at this point.
Well, Mikey, and it's interesting enough,
Mikey has
at
like
that
a
point
straight ankle at that point.
lets go of the hand-over-hand grip that he has and starts defending. Because Iminari gets a decent bite, and Musumeci does a good job with that leg that was fenced under the knee, kind of underneath Iminari's butt there. He pushes away and frees his knee line a little bit from the heel hook, kind of in combination with letting go.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's what you really have to worry about.
Yeah.
If you're going to let something go, you're going to let your ankle go. You're not going to let your knee go.
Yeah, and Iminari is just a technician.
He's a beast
of the highest degree when it comes to heel hooking dudes.
Oh, yeah.
And so Mikey does a great job there of pushing him out. But he doesn't do the thing that a lot of guys that are scared of Iminari do, which was completely disengage. He immediately starts like diving under Iminari and looking sort of to take his back underneath him and he lets Iminari continue to go for, once he frees the initial heel hook, he lets Iminari keep going for the heel hook while he kind of starts to scoop under. He still has Iminari's leg in his armpit, but the other hand that was over top and like hand over hand gripped is now scooping under for Iminari's back.
Yeah.
And as they keep going, Iminari throws like a pretty decent looking heel hook, but Mikey rolls inverts under, and then now the outside hand that was on Iminari's shoulder is under his body, and Iminari basically has Mikey's leg next to his face.
Yeah, and he also has not the leg that's basically getting knee barred at this point, but the other leg, Mikey's other leg, he uses as a wedge to kind of hold Iminari back from like
in the
kind
center
of scooting
of their knees.
up, to kind of like scoot up on his leg because that other leg blocks him from being able to like really pull that leg into him and really get any closer.
You see Iminari at one point try to grab on the calf of Musumeci's leg to pull it up, but because Mikey has the one free leg that he still has underneath of the knee where the leg that is now getting knee barred was, he's pushing that away, and he clears the knee line enough where Iminari goes, I can't really pull this through for the knee bar. And the guy, Mikey's kind of already starting to try to take the back off. It's not like a bolo, but just sort of, it's that knee bar back take.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a better term for it, but it's really like when somebody takes someone's back off the knee bar, this is what Musumeci is kind of like letting himself get knee bar, but slipping the knee just enough where he's super low on Iminari's back and trying to kind of come up. And it was a really interesting way that Musumeci pushes that inside knee in to keep Iminari from being able to like pull his leg through any further, Musumeci's leg through any further to get any purchase on either the knee bar or the heel hook. And you see Iminari kind of hold there for a second and figure out, like, okay, this guy's not going to let me re-pummel the legs. I'm going to go out, and they kind of scramble out. Iminari and the scramble out.
To like a 50-50.
Yeah. And Iminari immediately goes, when they scramble out, as Musumeci kind of comes to top, goes outside, rolls through for the 50-50, like heel hook combination ankle lock. Musumeci comes up and immediately kind of starts looking to push Iminari's top leg away and go away. And it's really interesting because he kind of sits on his ass and he doesn't fight it with his feet. Like he leaves his legs and knees in place and everything planted on the ground. And then he just like scoots his ass away and brings his arms back up. Yeah. And it was just really interesting way because most guys, again, will disengage there. And Musumeci's like, you have my ankle. It's kind of tight here, and you're pulling back on it. But I want to use that. I want to use your offense to get on top of you now because we've had this little leg exchange, and you're going for stuff, and I'm going for stuff. And I threw a really deep straight ankle lock at you, and you didn't tap to it. So, Tom, take your back now.
Yeah.
It was just a really neat little exchange.
And I'm surprised Iminari doesn't... I don't remember exactly who I first saw this from, but there's something called the crowbar that when somebody tries to take your back from that position, you literally like scoop under their leg and grab your other leg.
Keenan did it.
And you freaking hold, and they can't like turn to your back because their leg is stuck.
Yeah, Keenan talked about it.
Like, it's surprising that he didn't do that, but I guess he was going after the ankle, and he was going to try to sub him as opposed to just keeping the position.
Right.
He was more concerned with the sub over the position.
Yeah, that's again one of the reasons I kind of love Iminari.
You know,
is because the dude's gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And there's a highlight reel of Iminari ripping guys' legs off. There's also a highlight reel of Iminari getting knocked out.
Yeah, and if you watch him walk into the cage at any point, he walks like the meows.
Yeah, he walks like the legs are not what they used to be.
Yeah, they don't have all the ligaments.
But again, I love like that approach and style from Iminari that like Musumeci is the best BJJ guy in the world, probably. You can make an argument. You can make many arguments. Obviously, one of the best in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And Iminari's like, no, I'm going to go for the sub. I'm not going to play a defensive game. Like, I'm going to throw. But it's just, which is what you should be doing versus, like, the best guy in the world, because you're probably not going to outpoint him or position him. You're going to, like, you have to go. There's a great saying that I like to bring up in jiu-jitsu occasionally. It's that, and it's a statistics thing. It's like, you're much more likely to beat LeBron in a game of one-on-one first to score. Because it's like you can get it any time. Like, you score one, it's over, and you win.
Yeah.
It's like you're never going to beat LeBron in a game of like, best of 5. It's just not going to happen. If your
odds are going to get fucked at that point.
If you have a world class guy like Musumeci who's so dangerous everywhere and so positionally dominant, can lock you down so well, like, your best bet is going to try to sub him and sub him quick, because like you may be able to catch him. You're probably not going to be able to have an effective long attritive battle through a long match. And it's the approach you should be taking in that situation. But I like seeing a guy like Iminari actually go to do that.
Yeah.
Mikey comes on top and then does a really nice job with his topside hook. He almost gets the monkey mount, and monkey mount, like vegan mount, is...
I've never heard it called that.
You haven't?
No.
I play this position all the time, so it was really cool to see Mikey do it. He just steps over into mount on Iminari, but he does it really, really high up, and he never steps over Iminari's like open guard. He just puts his feet on the hips, and he rests the tops of his feet.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Okay, I never knew
it's what you should be doing.
Well, and as a smaller person, that allows me to know where their hips are going.
Yes.
So if they start bucking, like,
and it's a smaller person thing to do, because we usually have the flexibility to do it. But you stand on their hip bones.
Yeah, you put your feet
on
their
hips. Either I know it is vegan mount or monkey mount, because it's not really mount.
Yes, it is. Well, you're not getting points.
But that's the joke.
You're not getting points.
You're not getting points. It's not. That's not really mount. So it's vegan mount.
I kept on thinking that you were gonna like pull in 10th Planet somewhere.
No. That's.
Okay.
I mean, that.
I don't know why I assume 10th Planet guys are vegan, but it's what makes sense to me.
The other thing is, it's also called monkey mount, because you're kind of like monkey, like grip on their hips and standing on them. Musumeci does a really great job, and he kind of sits there for a second and like uses the top side of his foot to push Iminari's thigh back down on the bridge, and then step over into like a regular mount. And from there, it's pretty much Musumeci like getting a good top position. He crosses back over into Iminari's half guard and like kind of gets him on his side, or on his kind of his top shoulder. Loops over, and then just jumps and takes the back. And at that point, I kind of went, okay, I'm guessing that Musumeci's probably not gonna give up back position on Iminari. It was funny, Musumeci, again, being such an IBJJF guy for years and years and years, throws the hooks in first, and then goes to the body triangle, and it's just
has to get his points.
It's a funny thing. There's a couple things that I love watching guys do in jiu-jitsu matches.
It's a habit. It's a habit.
Grippo will take grips before he pulls.
Oh, really?
Yep. And there's certain guys, you'll just see these holdovers where it's like, why do you do it? Oh, right, because
for years that's what they were told.
It's a rule that, like, in this organization you compete in a lot, you have to do it. You'll see guys nowadays, they'll take the hooks, and then they'll pummel like 4 or 5 seconds later, they'll pummel to the body triangle, and it's like, oh, you wanted the body triangle in the first place, but you're so used to needing the hooks for the points.
Yeah.
And I'm curious with the change of rule scoring, with more and more organizations allowing for body triangle scoring, like ADCC, if we're going to see that change or not.
Well, we'll see. See what happens.
So Mikey works for a while in the back. He's able to trap Iminari's arm, really just getting super high up on the shoulders and pinching it down. And then...
Sorry, could you say that?
Stop that, Siri. And then but the new watch does it all the time.
Siri talks to you randomly.
If I lift my watch to like gesture, because I talk with my hands a ton,
Yeah.
it'll go like, "Are you talking to me?" I'm like, "No, watch, I'm not talking to you. I'm trying to just like equivocate with my hands." Musumeci traps the arms down eventually and sort of works in probably another 2 minutes, or probably another minute and a half total on the back, and then throws it through.
I mean, there's a lot of hand fighting going on. A lot of like good hand fighting going on.
Yeah.
But he's just not able to get out of the position at all.
One thing that I thought was really interesting in this match is the referee, who's also a black belt, is calling...
Screaming every single time.
I think he's screaming catch or something like that. Whenever there's an actual
yell.
legitimate
Yeah.
sub attempt in there, because he does it with Musumeci's ankle lock.
Yeah.
He does it with Iminari's heel hook.
Yeah.
And he does it on the start
Does
of
it
the
on
knee
the
bar,
back.
I think. And on the
On the
back.
back.
He yells like catch, and I'm not exact. I don't need to look at the
It
one.
has to be. I swear it's probably 4 points.
I'm guessing it's a
for
scoring
them.
thing.
Yeah, it's
for your
for them
judges.
for scoring. It's kind of alarming.
It's alarming because I thought he was saying tap, and I was like, oh, he's not tapping, but oh no,
Yeah.
they kept going.
Yeah.
I like it because you have a qualified referee, and he only did it in spots where I was like, I agreed. I was like, that's legit, that's legit, that's legit.
Okay.
There was a
So
bunch
it's
of
like
other
them,
places.
It's like them calling legit attempts,
Which-
rather than like fight to win where we watch it and somebody might say it's legit and the others.
I just like having the referee as that reinforcement where it was like, oh, as a viewer, because I think, again, beautiful production quality here. As a viewer, it made it nice to see because I was going, oh, cool. He's calling that a legit sub attempt, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
And it was just really interesting to see like that extra bit of like rule change. I'm curious as we see more matches in 1FC, what exactly that rule is and why exactly they're doing that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it used before or done before.
Yeah. So that was Masakazu Imanari versus Mikey Musumeci. Again, Mikey Musumeci almost got like teary-eyed when he found out he was getting 50K. And that was like,
Oh, did they tell him after the match? See, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't watch any of that.
So on the video that's just the match, they just have like the middle end of the match, last like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
On the
On the one that's the whole.
there's like the
like
post for interview. It's
the
Sean
whole
Tree
undercard basically.
giving him the money, and it's like it's a cool like moment.
Wow,
they do
nice.
the interview there, and it's
Well,
overall cool.
Well, he's just moved to Evolve.
Yeah,
So
he's evolving MMA
He's
now.
basically going to be staying in Singapore for.
Is
a
he
minute.
staying there or he moved there?
I think he moved there.
That's wild.
But he's moved all over the place. I mean, he moved to San Francisco or San Diego. Or
Yeah, he's moved. I
now.
mean, he's moved around a lot. I mean, historically,
wherever
Musumeci.
Caio was, San Jose. Jose.
Yeah.
He moved there for a minute. He was.
He was there for a while. I think he was there for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he was there for a minute. He's been around.
He was Alliance at one point.
He's
He
from
was
Jersey.
Patago.
He's from Jersey. I got that wrong the first time. He's from Jersey. That's why the two Bolo brothers that are like north of Philly are affiliated under him. Because he started in Jersey, and then he went from Jersey to Vegas.
Okay.
And Vegas has been his home base with his sister. So
Oh,
I guess that's where
Tammy is.
I guess that's where she practices law.
Huh. Interesting.
So
it was overall it was a very interesting match. I like that 1FC is doing more of these. And I'm looking forward to the Rotolo matches. I'm looking toward a Gary's match. Like overall, I think they're doing great jobs. I love seeing you guys getting paid.
Yeah.
And I think that having these matches inside of
and they also have the fun like 2 rounds of Muay Thai, 2 rounds of MMA.
the
matches.
Demetrius Johnson match I watched. That was my one recommend. I was like, I watched that match this weekend too.
Demetrius Johnson's great.
Bro,
to
that
watch.
match, that rotating match was awesome.
He's just fun to watch.
Yeah. So overall, 1FC killed us this weekend. Moving into the preview section, Miranda, where do you want to start with this?
BJJ Stars.
BJJ Stars.
'Cause we could probably talk for hours about this.
We can talk for a while for this. Let me pull up. Where's the actual? Oh, there we go. Here's the big card. We have. I have the wrong card up actually. So BJJ Stars. Ozaki Bahans, unfortunately, is no longer in this one. He has been replaced by Wilson Tarta. A guy I'm not super familiar with. You said he was a newer black belt.
Yeah, I believe so.
Newer black belt. But again, Stars always has really, really good guys on. We have in this bracket right now, which unfortunately right now we don't have a bracket. We just have the names. Middleweight GP, we have Leandro Lo, Waller Santarta, Leo Lara.
In the gi.
In the gi, Mica Galvao, Pedro Machado, Roberto Jimenez, Lucas Hulk Barbosa.
And we also have to talk about the new rules.
And the new rules. Ooh, and Mauricio Oliveira.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the new rules first, because that excites me. Then we'll break down the bracket. Then we have a host of super fights that are baller as well. Damien Maya's on the card. Felipe Pena's on the card. Bia Mosquito's on the card. Mauricio Andre's on the card.
Gutenberg Pereira.
Parada's on the card. Felipe Andre's on the card. So we'll get into that. But first, let's talk the new rule, or a couple new rules, actually. And I think you texted me this today, and I was like, oh, really? I got very, very excited. So because we have a Middleweight GP, they have made some changes to the gi rules for BJJ Stars 8.
Yeah. And so the two basic positions that, I mean, you do see stalling in. So these are basically like anti-stalling rules. Is in the 50-50 or in some guard using a lapel, that you're only allowed to be there for 20 to 30 seconds before they're going to say they're either going to stand you up if you're in 50-50 or you're going to lose your grip if you're in lapel.
Lapel guard.
Or they may change your position. There is no, like, I couldn't find, and I don't speak Portuguese, so I
you tried to translate the website.
I tried to go to the website and look, and so what I found was that these two rules, if you're in these positions and you're stalling, they're either going to remove your grips or stand you up, which I think is great, because you'll get a weird ass, like, two black belts in, and we've seen this in Fight to Win. I've seen it personally.
We've seen this in every single organization in the world.
Where they pull 50-50 and then no one wants to let go of a grip.
Because we've talked about it for since the inception of the show, that the first guy to leave 50-50 loses. Yeah. And it's like you get into this match where it's like, well, because as soon as you start to pull out a 50-50, the other guy can counter you while you're trying to remove yourself from the position. We've seen a couple of matches ever that are exceptions to this rule. JT Torres and Wagner was an exception to the rule. It was like, God damn, these guys are monsters in 50-50, out and in. Yeah. But we've seen a lot of matches, especially in the gi, that just dead end in 50-50. And if you have, this is 100,000 reals, which is $21,000. This is a big paid tournament. I like that they are making it. You need to make money.
The pictures they use for some of the, like the Mica Galvao picture they use, it's just ridiculous.
He's a little young.
He looks super young.
So... But I like that they're making rule changes to, like, foster action and make it more entertaining.
Yeah,
because
they're trying to make them not stall out.
Because we
don't want a boring-ass stalling match.
We do a sport now. We do, like, a sport that we want to kind of showcase, and so you have to make rule changes to address situations that are coming up where you're stalemating and you're stalling. You need to make those rules because that's how all sports work. Like every sport has rules like this.
And like every other sport, people know how to take advantage of the rule set. And so you need to make it.
And that's a feature. That's how you write your rules. Like it, and Mo talks about it.
I enjoy the fact they added lapel guard in there too, because I hate people that play lapel guard more than you could ever imagine. They drive me absolutely insane. And when they stall you out, it is.
Yeah, when a guy just holds an inside guard and cool, I'm trapped here.
And then you can't do anything.
And a lot of the conventional thinking is, well, you got to escape and get out of that. It's like, yeah, but I am stuck in a thing that he put us in that I now have to give us a negative position to get out of. He should have, and it's the
I mean, there's both ways.
There's both ways to think about it, but I think I like that they are putting the onus on the person that initiates the position to do something with the position, as opposed to putting emphasis on the person being required to defend it.
Yes.
Because I think that is, whenever you mandate defense, it tends to get problematic. Mandating offense is a good way to counter that, because it's like, hey, you want this grip, you want this guard, you want 50-50, you want a lapel guard, you want a deep lasso guard, you've got to do something with it. And I just think that, I hope that we will get matches that do not get stalled out in the way. It also gives the referee language to deal with it, and it's like, hey, you guys aren't doing anything here. Like, you have this stalling grip, you have this stalling guard, you're stuck here. All right, we're gonna keep going, but like we're gonna move position now because you're stuck, you're stalled. It is what it is. So
we'll go back to the 8-man tournament,
and unfortunately,
middleweight tournament.
We don't have brackets yet. So I think, and we have a bunch. Miranda, you did a great job. You pulled a ton of information about who has beaten who. So do you want to talk about potential bracketing first, or talk about?
Let's talk about who beat
who and when.
So the one that's beat almost everybody, or not almost, a lot of the guys is Barbosa.
Yeah, Hulk has beat most of the guys in this bracket.
Yeah, Hulk has beat Mauricio Oliviera. at BJJ Bet in 2021.
Yep. That's a really similar event to BJJ Stars. Like they run very similar as well.
He beat Lo twice. Once BJJ Bet by rear naked choke, and once in the Pan Americans.
It was close points, right?
It was a ref's decision for Pan Americans.
Okay.
And it was a rear naked choke for BJJ Bet.
Yeah.
And I only went back a couple years, so they could have went against each other
They
5
have
million times.
a couple of times, but you went back 2 years. Because kind of the logic behind that is guys' games change a lot in 2 years. If you go back 6 years, it's like, how representative is that match of a guy's game now? So within the last 2 years, here are their matches.
Yeah.
They've had more matches, but we're just talking about the last 2
and
years.
Barbosa's beat Jimenez by armbar at Fight to Win in 2020.
That was actually a fun match. You should watch. You should watch that match. It was one of Jimenez's first big test matches.
I think that's all of it. But he had the most where he went against the most gentlemen in the bracket.
Yeah.
And then we have the real fun Mica Galvao has won against Mauricio Oliveira. He actually is one of the only gentlemen to ever beat Mica Galvao. So we have.
How did he beat him?
It is by points. 2 points.
It was 2 points. It was only two. It was a close
Nogi
match.
Grand Prix. And I remember watching it and being like, holy shit, this guy just took out,
This guy just beat
Mica Galvao at that point was like the Wonder Boy poster child that was going to win everything in the world. And he got taken out like immediately.
Yeah. And we were like, oh shit. And he played a really smart game against him. He kind of shut him down and just like didn't really let him just chuck offense and slowed him down.
Yeah. And didn't really let him open up.
Yeah.
Because the problem with him is if you let him open up, he's just going to.
He does what he did at São Paulo. Was it São Paulo or was it the first Brazilian trials?
Yeah.
Just murders everyone
in
like 8 minutes.
Yeah. It's like 8 minutes total mat time after 15 matches.
I know. He had 6 matches and finished everyone by sub, and then sub Majig in the finals in like 2 minutes or something like that. It was like, when you let him get going, he gets going. So it was curious and interesting to watch Mauricio kind of like be able to slow him down. So that's a potential rematch in this bracket. And again, there's a lot of potential rematches in this bracket, but that's one that I'm genuinely curious about because I think Mica, especially being at Fight Sports now, will have made changes to his game and his approach if they rematch. And they've definitely, that's something that he probably will have gone and check more so than a lot of the veterans, made
Leandro Lo is going to play Leandro Lo.
Yeah, Leandro, it's like, and he'll like make adjustments.
He'll
to his
make
game.
adjustments, but he's going to be like,
for the most part, like you're probably not going to see a huge different way that he's going to deal with something. Whereas Galvao,
well, and he might go back and look at his match versus Hulk and see, why he lost versus Hulk and what he needs to do. But he's not going to change much of what he's doing or his game plan. Of
he's going to have a slightly different approach. He's going to take it like a little differently. He'll game it a little differently, but
he'll always look like he's exhausted.
Yep. But he's not all of a sudden gonna go out and play like a tornado guard. You're like, that's not something we're gonna see from Leandro. No. At this point.
Roberto Jimenez, you never know what the hell you're gonna see out of him.
Right, and kind of the same thing with Michael Galvao, a young guy that, in kind of a little less than the Galvao with his kind of expansion of technique, but is a guy that will throw a lot.
Mica Galvao is a lot more calculated, is a good way to say it, than like Jimenez. Jimenez is almost like a tornado of fury because you kind of get whatever you're going to get and you don't really know what the hell you're about to get.
Right.
And
that throws a lot of guys off. They're not exactly certain, like, okay, what are we going to do?
He's so much to deal with that it's difficult to plan that.
So what other rematches do we got?
We also have Leo Lara. Leo, I said that right.
It's Lara or Lara, and I'm blanking on
Lara.
exactly the pronunciation of his name.
He's actually won against both Mica Galvao and Mauricio Oliveira and lost to both of them in different events. So he is a little bit of an underdog when you think about it.
As far as rematches go in the bracket.
Yeah, as long as rematches go. And then you have a Pedro Machado that's in there. And everything I found on him, he just got his black belt in December of 2021.
We haven't got a chance to cover him a lot on the show. He comes up in like DMs, the guys with DM stuff about him.
Oh, really?
Which is cool. He's very good.
It looked like he looked like he always competed at like 208.
Yeah, coming down.
So he's like coming down. He's come down in weight. But he's also getting older. So, I mean, maybe that's a good idea to come down in weight at that point. But that was all the rematches I could find.
So it really comes down to, again, we don't have brackets. I don't want to speculate too much on this because, again, you bracket Jimenez and Leandro, or you bracket Hulk and Leandro in the first round, like your final looks a lot different. They probably won't do that. I'm guessing.
I would do that.
No, what I'm guessing is we're going to get Leandro and Hulk on opposite sides. We're going to get Mica and Roberto on opposite sides. And then we're going to get the first round is going to be probably like Mauricio versus Roberto and like Pedro versus Tartra and Leandro Lara versus Galvao, Pedro Machado versus Leandro Lo. Yeah. And like that's my guess of how this is going to shake out. So I think in the second round, we're probably going to see maybe like we'll probably see Galvao versus Leandro Lo or versus Hulk in the second round is what I'm guessing. Like that, I'm guessing that's how that bracketing is going to go, depending on what side he's on. The same thing goes. I think Leandro and Hulk, if they meet, will meet in the finals. Can absolutely see that rematch. I kind of want to give it to Hulk again, just because I think like he has win over him recently.
Two wins over
him in the recent past.
Yeah.
I tend to not bet against it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hulk. I like Hulk's game.
Yeah, I like Leandro's game too. Yeah. Hulk just will grind dudes out.
Yeah,
and like I like his timing.
And I think he also gets it better with time in like Grand Prix. I think as the Grand Prix goes on, he gets grindier.
Yeah, he opens up and gets comfortable in his game and like.
Well, I mean, Leandro Lo does too, but.
Again, Leandro is such a weird dude because he always looks exhausted.
He looks like he's about
to every match.
He always looks like he's about to fall over.
Why is he so tired? And he just keeps going.
Yeah. He just his movements are always. I don't know. He's got some of the best timing in the sport. Yeah, he does.
Which is always, and he always surprises me that he can keep that up and keep like surprising me.
He was on
with
like BJJ Stars versus the really big TLI guy.
Spriggs?
No, the
Octavio
other
Souza?
No, one of them.
Muhammad Ali?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the last match I saw of Leandro Lo. And Leandro Lo just looked like he was exhausted.
Yeah.
And
he looked super tired in that match.
He just looked
but also, Ali is 230 or something like that, at least 240.
Attacking him.
Yeah. So, do you have a pick here?
I'm gonna go with Hulk.
I'm gonna go with Hulk too. Any of these guys can punch out. This is fun.
Yeah, my second is Leandro Lo. If I was going to pick a dark horse out of everything, Mauricio Oliveira is my dark horse. That if he won, I'd be very happy, but I don't think he will.
My dark horse is Jimenez. Galvao can take it, but I think he's going to struggle.
I think if this wasn't gi, I think if this was no gi, I'd go more for Jimenez. But I feel like people can control him more and control the fury if he's in the gi.
And slow him down a little bit. Yeah, Oliveira's a good pick as well. Again, this is a fun bracket. Again, I wish we had a bracket here to talk about, but this should be a really fun event. I think there will be some big upsets, as always, BJJ Stars, and it makes it fun to talk about.
And then next we have the super fights that are no gi. They have ADCC rules.
Hell yeah. Oh shit, really? I didn't see
rules.
that. I forgot about that. It was a change they made a couple of months ago. They announced that they were doing that now. That's awesome.
Weird fact, Felipe Pena is on this card.
Why is that a weird fact?
The weird fact is his last no-gi match was in 2019 versus
Galvao. I was Matt's side. I was on the mat.
He hasn't competed no-gi since. He wants to come back into no-gi and MMA soon.
Well, because he's going to do ADCC.
He wants to fight MMA too.
Okay.
He's
fighting Henrique Sosone. Henrique is super good.
He should. He in trials. He got into finals and trials the first time. And
Brazilian trials.
And then he won Brazilian trials the second time.
He's no joke. But again, you're talking about Pena, former absolute champion.
Oh, yeah. No. It's gonna be a good match, but I'm gonna give it to Pena. But I just think it's a weird. He hasn't competed since 2019 no-gi.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see.
But again, if you're in ADCC, you're in the super fight. What else kind of do you have to prove in that time?
Yeah,
and Pena's a guy that really has historically done worlds in ADCC. He'll do some super fights now and again, but he doesn't typically do a lot of events anymore.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see him on this. I will give it to Pena as well. I don't know if he can sub Henrique, but it also wouldn't surprise me to see him do so.
Yeah.
But I could see him taking a pretty dominant point, if he can slow Henrique down and kind of put pressure on him.
Yeah.
Impose his game. Where do you want to go next? There's a bunch of cool matches here.
We'll just go through the undercard, and then we'll go to the main event last, because the main event we can talk about too.
We can talk about that too.
So Gutenberg Pereira versus Felipe Andrew.
When's the last time they fought? We just looked it up. I think it was Pans 2019. Was it?
2018.
No. Was it really that long?
Oh, no.
ago?
Get here. Versus Andrew. Okay. So
It was 2019.
Pans 2019, he won
Points.
2-0
match.
And then
Gutenberg Pereira won.
No, Andrew won.
Oh, Felipe Andrew won in 2019 Pans. That was the last time that they have faced each other.
And then in 2018, Gutenberg won in Pans by sub.
And that's in black belt. That is the only time these guys have faced each other.
That we are aware of. That
BJJ Heroes told us about.
Yeah, and I tried to Google to try to see if I could find some extra information. I was unable.
I'm curious about this one. Again, Gutenberg Pereira is coming off of a really great trials performance. It's ADCC rules, so I assume all of these are no-gi. It says Super Fights no-gi, so
yeah, they're all no-gi.
Like, Felipe Andrew's a monster in no-gi, but Gutenberg Pereira is a little bigger, and he had a really close match with Cyborg at Pans. He looked very, very good in. He's looked great in no-gi.
Yeah,
and I want to pick Pereira because Pereira, on his last BJJ Stars outing, had that amazing run versus like Margali. It was in the gi.
Yeah.
But Pereira's a guy that has routinely, in this last year, been consistently surprising me. Felipe Andrew, that was more so of 2020 into 2021. Like Gutenberg Pereira into 2020, end of 21, 22 has just consistently made me go, man, he really upped his game.
Yeah.
And
was it Andrew or Pena that one, or Penna that one, when what's his name got kicked out for giving the finger? Margali got kicked out. Which one?
It was Penna.
It was Penna. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I get my Philippes confused.
Yeah. Brazilian Philippe. Yeah, it was Penna.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
So
random fact.
I'm gonna give this to Gutenberg.
I give it to Gutenberg too.
Again, Penna.
Besides the fact he has an awesome name.
Yeah.
Gutenberg.
Felipe Andrew absolutely has a footlock way to victory here or a triangle way to victory here. Like, he has some of the sneakiest triangle setups in the sport. But Gutenberg, again, coming off of that murderous trials that he did in Brazil and winning that, I think he's probably in rare form right now, and coming off of the Pans match to Cyborg that was very, very close with Cyborg. I think that he's in rare form. He's consistently shown us that he can compete. He has a very long guard in a way that I think he will be able to control Felipe Andrew for periods of this match and be able to get on top of him and outpoint him because, again, we're doing ADCC rules. I think he's going to be able to take it on a close points victory versus Felipe Andrew. Again, Andrew can absolutely surprise me, but I think that I'm going to lean Pereira on here just because I think he's most recently won ADCC trials, and that will carry him into an ADCC match. I'm curious if they're using trials rules, or if they're using finals rules, or if they're using a modified.
They're using super fight rules. There's super fight rules with ADCC too.
Are they using?
I don't know.
20-minute super fight rules, or are they using? Do we know exactly what super fight rules they're using?
I'm looking.
So, next match we have, again, a really fun match. Fabricio Andre versus Alex Sodre. Did you pull anything on this, Miranda?
No.
Watch Fabricio. Actually, this is going to be a great match. I'm going to lean Fabricio on here. Again, another great performance at Trials recently. Looking great in the rule set. I'm super hot on him. I think that he has a level of speed that tends to do well in ADCC.
Okay.
And he can impose on guys. I think Sodre absolutely can get fire back, but Fabricio
all it says
Andre.
is ADCC rules. It doesn't say which form.
Okay. I assume we're doing 10-minute super fight rules.
Yeah.
With an optional overtime maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Next match we have Bia Mosquito versus Juliana Boscher. This is a tough one for Juliana.
Yes.
For Julia. Newer black belt, you said.
Yeah.
Bia Mosquito is Bia Mosquito.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time, and she definitely will take your head off.
Been crushing folks recently. Yeah. I really think that she's going to come out super, super aggressive, put Julia on her back, and then just do what she does.
Grind
Again, Bia is a former ADCC champion. ADCC champion.
Yeah, and with ADCC rules, she definitely has a game that that does well in that rule set.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at her 2019 run.
Yeah.
Like sub points, sub in the finals versus Theon was that nasty toe hold.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to train with Theon, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the outro.
Okay.
I'm going to take Bia here just again.
Yeah. I take Bia only for the reason that she's done this rule set before multiple times, and she's shown that she can kind of elevate the game at that.
I'm leaning a lot more towards people, and like I'm giving a lot of stake into that because ADCC has such a unique kind of rule set with how you have to score. So people that have familiarity with it, I'm kind of hard leaning into them for this, I'm realizing. Next match, we have Marcos Petro and we have Lucas Protasio. Not super familiar with both those guys. As soon as they get the mat, I'll probably go, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah.
And we have Talas Loreno versus Marina Losta. I think these were the folks that were on the BJJ Stars series.
Okay.
On the reality show that I tried to
okay.
watch with subtitles and captions, but I had a hard time because YouTube wasn't translating it correctly, and I'm hoping that as AI comes along, I can watch it again with actual translated captions. But I think these two ladies are from that. I could be incorrect, though.
Okay. And then we go to the main event. We have Damien Maia
versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira.
Yeah, which is an interesting matchup to tell you the truth.
Are they both in UFC?
No,
or did Damien get cut?
They both got cut.
They both got cut. Okay, so both recent cuts from the UFC. Damien Maia is that monster. Both of these guys were welterweights in the UFC. Damien Maia, former title challenger at 85. At 70, I think, too.
What, Damien Maia?
Yeah. Did he ever run for title at 70?
I don't think
he got up there.
He got up there.
Alex Oliveira is primarily a kickboxer. Again, good on the ground, but we watched his match with Gunnar Nelson. Yeah. Gunnar Nelson, who also kind of famously got out-grappled by Maia.
For Cowboy to get
it would be a
moving.
crazy upset to have Cowboy be in contention in this match. Better yet, win. And
I trained with Maia, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, yeah, in the gi.
And he's definitely in the gi, which is even weirder. And he doesn't move slow. He's still crushing folks.
Yeah, he's 40, isn't he?
I don't know.
39?
He might be in his 30s, but he definitely doesn't move like he's in his 30s.
No.
He definitely still has it going on.
I think that Maia subs him with rear naked choke in under 5 minutes.
And he's been training up at in New York. Marcelo's.
Yeah. Him and Marcelo go way back.
Yeah.
There's some old school footage of them
he
going
says
together.
he goes to Marcelo's with some of his questions about like why things are happening the way they are and everything.
Which is wild. You're like the grappler guy in the UFC like goes to Marcelo. You're like, how good is Marcelo?
Marcelo is pretty amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
So I clearly give this to Damien Maia. Would be shocked if Cowboy can contend.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a very long match.
No, I would say Maia by rear naked choke in under 5 minutes would be my guess here. If maybe even pre-points, depending on what style they're doing, points or no points. So that does it for BJJ Stars. Super looking forward to this event. And
it's on Flow.
Should be a barrel of fun. Don't have to buy a pay-per-view for it.
All of the events this weekend are on Flow.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's a nice little change for once. When we want to fight to win or Toro Cup?
We can do Toro.
Moving on to Toro Cup, one match I really want to talk about is Estevan Martinez versus Gavin Corbrey. So Brandon and I have actually commentated a bunch of Gavin's matches for Copa, Virginia. He did a local tournament, paid tournament here.
Well, he's a Virginia person because he doesn't. His brother trains in Maryland.
Yeah,
but he trains out of
DeAndre
Virginia.
Trains there, and then he trains out of Virginia. So
Virginia.
We've covered Gavin. Him and his brother both did ADCC trials.
They did.
Again, so did Estevan Martinez. We did an interview with Estevan Martinez, as you can find on the Grappling Rewind YouTube page. I got the chance to talk to Estevan for like almost 20 or 30 minutes in the hotel.
Completely jealous of because I was gone.
You literally had to run.
I had to run and make a plane, and then I barely made the plane, which made me actually go and get my TSA pre-check stuff actually done. So
you got it done finally?
Now I got it done finally after almost missing a flight in Vegas.
Yeah, because we were recording the podcast for the recap until like the last minute, and Miranda basically goes, I gotta go.
And
then
bye.
Leaves the chairs in the hotel and then immediately runs out of the hotel to catch her flight. Like that, if you watch that show, that's why that was a short show.
Yeah, and you can look at the panic on my face, and you can watch me look at my phone and look at my phone and start being like, oh shit, I need to
watch
go.
the last 3 minutes of the outro on that episode if you want to watch Miranda get very shifty-eyed at me, like, wrap it up, I have to go. So we watched both these guys at ADCC trials. Estevan Martinez had a good performance at Pans recently.
Gavin Corbrey is a leg lock master.
Both. I haven't seen Estevan
do. I mean, I've seen him go after people's legs, but
he wants the neck.
I watched Gavin. I watched Gavin go after the UFC dude that I can't remember what his name
Heavyweight.
is.
Alexander
Romanov.
Yeah.
I watched him heel hook the hell out of him.
Yeah. Gavin's no
So-
joke. Estevan was no joke. This
Yeah.
is a match Estevan Martinez looked amazing versus Manny Vasquez at Hudson Valley Invitational
Yeah.
one or 2 weeks ago.
But I think if Gavin watches enough of Esteban's matches, which everybody's seen all of his matches.
Yeah.
If he times it right, if he times certain things, because Esteban does cartwheel passes.
Mm-hmm.
He does very specific movements. If he could time it, he could beat Esteban. But I think Esteban's a lot to deal with.
I think
And
Esteban
he has
also is a
teen,
guy.
He has tiny feet.
And Gavin, I commentated Gavin's matches when he won the last Copa Virginia and the previous Copa Virginia.
Yeah.
And so one thing that he talked about is improving his cardio and making
Yeah.
sure he can get deep. That's something that Martinez will test him in. Is but again, they both just did ADCC trials.
Yeah.
And they both made it to day 2.
Yeah.
Your cardio is on point there, so I don't think that's gonna be a problem. But Estevan can push a pace for the entire duration of a match that most guys
And if we
can't.
remember, Toro does ADCC rules.
Yeah.
So you do the 10 minutes. Is it 10 and 10?
I think it's 10. It's
10
10 in an overtime.
It's 10.
And so this can be a long match. I think the
gonna be
last match we saw with DeAndre Corbrey versus Souza
Yeah, it was
was
long.
12 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long
And
match.
again, push the pace. But Estevan is a guy that is not going to get tired pushing a pace.
No.
And Gavin is a guy that I don't
Gavin's
think
going to have to control him.
will get tired, but we'll have to control Estevan. And that's recently where we've seen guys struggle is later in the match, Martinez is still running at that same speed,
Yeah.
kind of unconcerned about
Yeah.
the speed that he's running, and other guys have to modulate. And that's where I'm kind of curious to see how Gavin deals with that.
Yeah.
Again, I have not seen Estevan in a protracted long leg lock battle in some time. It's not something we historically see him
No.
really get into, and I'm curious to see if Gavin's going to be able to pull him into
He
that.
normally bails out.
Yeah, and he's got very good bails.
Yeah.
He also has very short leg bones.
Yeah.
And so he's good at
He can
it.
get his knee line out very
and he can get his
easily.
knee line out very
Yeah.
easily because he tends to flop his hips and everything all the
Yeah.
way back and just rely on the balance of his hands. So stylistically, I'm super curious how this is going to go.
And this is going to be on Flow. It
Yeah.
hasn't been on Flow before. This is their first time. And actually,
Is it the first time I flew? I thought that was a
this
long
is
time ago. Okay.
This is their first time on Flow, and they have a set of announcers. The female that was supposed to win heavyweight at ADCC but hurt her back
Kendall.
is one of the. I know that this
Kendall
is
Rousing.
the random facts that I know. She's one of the announcers for this
She's
event.
good. I like hearing Kendall on the mic.
It's
She's
her
a very good
and two
commentator.
other gentlemen, which is interesting. I like seeing them keep on having their events,
The quality.
the quality improve.
Yeah.
Because it is you're in a gym.
Yeah.
You're going to a gym.
It's like a local gym.
Yeah, it's a local gym in
event.
Raleigh, Durham, and they have a guy who does shirts and stuff like that and sells out of
Yeah.
out of the front of not bagels.
It's
James Holga Boom.
Yeah.
He Boomer. And he's normally one of the refs.
Yeah.
Normally. He does that in the front of the store, in the back of the store is the gym, and it's just like a gym event. And for years it was just a gym event.
It's been a charity gym event.
Oh yeah.
Big charity event for a long time.
And every once in a while you get a meow or you get somebody come around.
Toro always, guys,
but-
we've covered Toro, I think since Toro 6
Yeah.
on the
I mean,
show,
they've-
whenever we get a chance to cover them on weeks that we can.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see them finally on Flow with a match like this where I'm going,
Yeah.
pick a winner. I'm like,
And
I don't know.
Wilson Hayes is on the match, or
Yeah.
is on the card. I can never pronounce his first name. Last name is Rocha Guilherme.
Did you write it down
Yeah.
for Maine to read?
How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, I may.
Guilherme.
Mm-hmm.
He's allegedly some beast that's gonna.
So Wilson Hayes is fun. We haven't seen. I watched his match in Fight to Win Philly a couple years ago. He doesn't do a ton of grappling matches. So, but again, I think he's a former brown belt world champion.
Yeah.
So again, Wilson Hayes is no joke. Do you have a pick for this one? Estevan Martinez versus Gavin Corbrey?
I'm gonna go with Estevan because I like Estevan.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna lean Estevan just because he's been there so many times. Gavin is a guy that in a year or two I think can absolutely
I think
take him.
I think
but
Gavin is still trying to come into his own.
yeah,
And I think
But that ADCC trials run was so good.
I think he does really well, but I think he's somebody who also has trouble once he gets out of his little line of thinking, like exactly what he wants to do. Once he gets out of, I'm going to grab your leg and I'm going to do this, or whatever his plan is, he doesn't. He brings you back into that plan, but he doesn't go off the plan easily.
Right. And
where I feel like Estevan does whatever he does whatever the hell
and
he wants to
Estevan
do.
will also force you out of a game plan that you want to play and force you to play into his game plan. And that's where we see a lot of the guys struggle with Martinez is like, cool, Estevan's going to do this to you. And you're like, okay, cool. Like I have to slow him down.
Yeah.
And then once guys 2 or 3 minutes in start to slow him down, he has worked you into the game he wants to play, and you're struggling to push him back. And that's sort of what we saw at Hudson Valley as well.
And Gavin isn't going to have a lot of size on him.
No, he's going to have a...
Gavin's like, what, 145?
145, probably. 150.
And Estevan's, what, 135? 140?
130.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a lot.
No.
Like, it's not a considerable weight advantage.
So, I'm amped for this.
We see Estevan have problems when there's somebody that's, like... gigantic and skilled.
So that'll be a super fun matchup. Looking forward to that card as well. Also this week we have Fight to Win 200. They go back to Hawaii. They've not been to Hawaii in 100 events, because that Fight to Win 100 was in Hawaii and it was an amazing event. We have a super fun main event here. We have Barry Yoshida versus Jeff. I'm blanking on Jeff's last name here. Jeff Hong. So I am amped to watch that match again. I love watching Yoshida. I love watching Yoshida in Hawaii because
he brings his people out.
And you get to see that crucifix game.
Yeah.
And I love watching that crucifix game.
His Anaconda's pretty amazing, too.
Anaconda's amazing. I've been doing a lot of crucifix recently, so I've been watching a lot of Barry Yoshida.
Oh, okay.
And like how he does it. And so I cannot wait to break this match down because I've been watching a shitload of Barry Yoshida. And again, it would not surprise me to see Yoshida. Yoshida's a pretty heavy favorite. Minus 400 favorite here versus Jeff. It wouldn't surprise me for us to see like an assassin choke finish.
Yeah.
That has been Barry Yoshida's Instagram for like 4 months now. He is working it. He has a really cool way that he traps the hand. He baby arms you a little bit when he does it. And it's been wild to watch him do it. I don't know if this is gi or no gi.
It didn't say.
The
pictures are no gi, but I don't know.
Also on the card, we have Mike Fowler versus Evan Asaki. That's a fun match. It's basically Evan runs or is the gym owner for basically AOJ Hawaii. Yeah. So, and Mike Fowler's a guy that we see on the Hawaii cards. Haven't seen him in a minute, but OG American jiu-jitsu practitioner. Yeah. He was around when like Lovato, Jeff Glover, and him were like the 3 dudes where they were kind of repping the Americans back in the day. So it's cool to see him back on the card as well.
BJ Penn is being political right now, so he can't be on the
Trying to be the governor of Hawaii?
Yeah, he's trying to be the governor.
Yes, BJ Penn really hasn't competed since he got knocked out in the UFC and then got cut.
Yeah, true. Well, didn't he get heel hooked by
Brian Hall?
Yeah.
That happened as well.
I know, but I would like to see. I like BJ Penn.
I do too. He's a soft spot in my
he's
heart.
fun to watch.
So that is Fight to Win 200 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Love that they're coming back to Hawaii again. I love that every 100 event, Seth brings the crew out to Hawaii and they hang out there, and it's just cool to see the Hawaiian talent get showcased. Yeah. They're always really fun cards.
I've never been to Hawaii because
I haven't either.
Yeah.
And I almost went for 100, and if they go to 300, I'll probably go. If they go to Hawaii in 100 events, I'll probably go to Fight to Win 300 in Hawaii because it's a good excuse, and like I like watching Fight to Win.
Yeah.
So that is that. Miranda, do you have any other events or news happening this week? I think we covered everything.
Let me look. Let me make sure. I think we got it all.
So you have a fun week this week. You're going and you take my wife.
Yeah,
right?
I'm taking your wife. I'm going to steal your wife, and we're going to go train with
Fionn Davies.
Fionn
Is that Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm doing commentary at Copa Elite that day with Zach, and so I can't go to that because I have commentary.
It's up at Logic in Philly.
Yeah, I was excited. I was like, oh, what day is that? And then it's Saturday, and I can't go.
It's also Josh Cisner
is also in town.
Is actually at 50-50 on Saturday too.
And I was looking at that because I was like, I can go to either one of them because I'm like, well, I can go to 50-50 and then
go to 50-50 and go to.
But our check time for commentary is a little earlier than we would be able to responsibly do that, and so I went.
You have to be a responsible individual.
Yeah, I want to do good commentary, so I want to get there for sound check and do all the stuff we have to do to be able to put on a good event.
Oh, and Tex Johnson is randomly teaching classes
tomorrow
at
Frederick.
Bauer House in Frederick.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
So when this comes out, if you hear that day, he'll be at Bauer House.
Yeah,
in Frederick, which is
it's $50 a class,
which is neat because like that's.
I'm gonna wander out there. I think
Yeah.
Unless like something really crazy happens and I don't go.
He's got some cool technique.
Probably
He's,
gonna go-
he's always got some really
Yeah.
neat stuff. Whenever you see him like kind of teach technique, all three of those folks.
The day class is ski and the night class is no-gi,
Mm-hmm.
so I think I'm doing no-gi.
I haven't seen a ton of Sister Rose teaching, but I've seen a ton of Fionn and Tex teaching stuff,
Yeah.
and it was always stuff that I watched them teach, kind of like Lachlan as well.
Yeah.
I watched them teach on Instagram and go, oh, that's like something I can like internalize and take away with like
Yeah.
just how they explain
Like a teaching style.
what they're doing. They have a teaching style that kind of really resonates with me. So I'm upset that unfortunately I'm not going to make any of those people coming into town,
Yeah.
but hopefully you'll be able to make
Well,
them
we
and
can
then,
always.
and then let me know.
Yeah, I also try to always talk to them and see if they're coming around. If
Yeah.
you can like steal them for a day.
Hey, you in Baltimore? You
Yeah,
coming to
you
Baltimore?
want to come to Baltimore?
You in
You
Philly?
wanna come
What
train?
you doing? Want to come train?
Come train with us?
That's crazy.
We're
people.
fun people.
We are fun people.
Yeah.
So I think that does it. I don't have anything else going on
I don't think so.
other than really prepping for commentary, prepping for Copro Elite. Really excited to do commentary with Zach on that event. It's a very fun super fight. There's a fun 8-man tournament on that.
There's any female purple belts out there in the world of Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, compete. Because
Please.
me and Maine's wife are kind of alone in tournaments. And we need people to go against. We don't want to go against each other. I don't feel like dropping $120 to go against somebody that I see all the time.
to go fight Rachel.
Yeah. We need people. So if you're a female purple belt,
Just
come
in
on out.
honestly,
I don't even care how big you are. You can be like 200 pounds and I'll go against you.
Yeah, just in general, if
yeah.
you do jiu-jitsu, I think it's a super event. And it's kind of onto the coaching side because I do that a lot.
Yeah,
It's just really beneficial to compete. If you're into it, you listen to this show, get out there, try it out. Like compete, see what it's like.
That's my
I think
shameless plug to try to get people in our brackets.
I think it's really a good experience, and usually you learn a lot about the sport and a lot about like your own game and like the things that you can come and improve.
You learn a lot about your life.
Yeah.
You have
learn about who you are real
yeah,
quick.
You learn about a lot of
And then
things.
you like me and you're like, oh, I'm about this. Like this
Yeah.
shit's awesome. I love
Yeah.
competing. I'm like one of those people that are just like, do you get nervous? Like, no. Like talk to all of the
It
other coaches.
annoys the living shit out of me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm signing for the same tournament.
Yeah.
With also nobody in my bracket. So
Oh, you have no one in your bracket?
I
yet?
made you absolute
So
because I want to.
yeah, why not?
So there's that. Because I'm 145 pounds, Miranda.
Dude, why not? It
So-
doesn't matter.
Compete. It's a great experience. It makes you better at jiu-jitsu, and it teaches you a lot about yourself and about. And it gives you it also gives you an appreciation for what the folks that we cover on the show do.
Yeah.
And like the level that they have gotten to be able to do that effectively. And it gives me a wild appreciation for how good they are when you watch them compete at that level.
Totally, because you compete and you're in the middle of something, you have no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch them and they're like game planning, and you could see them like working their game. So
It's awesome.
anyway,
So compete.
go out, compete.
That's all I got. As always on the show, I am your host, Maine, my co-host.
Miranda.
And we are the Grappling Rewind. You sit on the mat, whatever it is, stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google+,
Until that shuts down.
we have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.